And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast episode, I have Sara from Go Get This Rose and also Wow, What a Marvel Movie. Say hello to everybody.
Hello. What's
and
up?
Today, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. And I have my good friend Charlie with me again.
Hello.
And today we are talking about the 2012 movie starring Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper, also starring alongside him Chris Tucker. Then you also have Robert De Niro in this film. This movie is none other than Silver Linings Playbook. This movie came out in 2012, and it had a budget of $21 million and made $236.4 million at the box office. It was nominated for several Academy Awards, and basically the premise is like this. After 8 months of treatment in a mental health institution for bipolar disorder, Pasio Pat Satinio Jr. is released for the
Italian on that.
So I know
Patricio.
Hey, I'm Italian. I butchered it.
Oh, no.
That's an insult to my own heritage, but you know.
I can only say because my husband's Italian. That's the only reason.
Hey, forget about it. So, so Junior is released into the care of the father, Pazio Sr., and his mother, Dolores, at his childhood home in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. This main focus is to reconcile with his ex-wife, Nikki. She has moved away and obtained a restraining order against him after Pat found her in the shower with another man and badly beats him. So, yeah. This movie is, I'm going to be honest with you, like the opening scene, whenever his mom goes on ahead, gets him out of the mental institution, it sets up the premise on what we're in store for. Because right then and there, we don't exactly know why he's in this mental institution. We just know that he's in there for a reason and everything. It has like a kind of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of feel to it at the very beginning of it in a sense and everything. Not saying that, he wasn't, some judge sent him there or anything like that, but Jack Nicholson was actually sent there because of the court situation and stuff. But this actually has a little bit of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of feel to it because both characters were in a mental institution. But anyways, yeah, definitely like how it starts off where basically his mom goes on ahead, gets him out. Next thing you know, Chris Tucker winds up going into the car with him. And his mom's just looking. He's like, it's okay. He's fine. Can we just go on ahead and just drop him off over at his house? And he goes, yeah, ma'am, it's fine and everything. It'll be all right. I'm fine. I'm fine now. And so his mother's believing everything that Bradley Cooper's character is actually telling him. And next thing you know she gets a call from the mental institution and saying, hey, you need to go on ahead and bring Chris Tucker's character back to the mental institution. And she goes, you lied to me. And all of a sudden, they almost get into a car accident and everything too, while Bradley Cooper's trying to turn the car around. But I just thought that was actually a little small comical aspect to it and everything that sets the tone for what Bradley Cooper's disorder is. And then we also get to know why Chris Tucker's character is actually in there for methamphetamines and other drugs. And also too, he's also dealing with some other problems. But I thought it was very well done on that scene. What did you guys think?
I think the whole script is great. I think it's a really impressive script. I like how, you learn a little bit more, get the picture together, what's going on. And it's not all given up to you up front. You get to learn more about the characters. I think the writing is super realistic. I think how they handle all the different topics, which we'll go into, about mental illness and how they portray each one is pretty accurate. Which is always kind of like a gamble, but I think they did a really great job with this movie.
Yeah, I agree. The script, I thought the script and the performances were just great all around. I mean, Bradley Cooper's great in it. Chris Tucker is not annoying like he usually is in the Rush Hour.
He's great. He's so good in this movie.
He's so calm. I think this is just another movie that I think this is the first movie because Chris Tucker. The last movie he was in before this one, I think, was Rush Hour 3 in 2007. So that's a 5-year.
Yeah, he was gone for a while.
Yeah, and then so I think Bradley Cooper's has got that because Bradley Cooper did that he had that kind of mentality again in to the 2018 for that Star is Born, where he is able to get Dave Chappelle back into the limelight. Because I think Dave Chappelle, he hosted SNL in 2016, then he was off for a little while. But Dave Chappelle was in a more dramatic role in A Star is Born. He was great in that. I mean, you definitely can see the age in Dave Chappelle. But this is just another type of movie where Bradley Cooper is able to get. I just picked up on that just while watching. Like, wow, he was able to get these guys to come back into like whatever. But and I think it did a tread a line and a steady line between dealing with the illness, but not making it too like serious. It made it kind of like made it light. It was a little lighthearted. It didn't feel heavy. Like One Flew in the Cuckoo's Nest. I didn't see it, but I know that's a heavy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yes, that's a heavy film.
This is pretty heavy.
I mean, this is
this
heavy.
It's pretty close.
It's heavy to a degree, but it does the fine line. Like when there's heavy moments and there's some lighthearted moments.
The comedy is very good.
Yes.
There'll be like the heavy moments, and then they'll back it up with like the comedy right after it.
Yeah.
But it's not like obnoxious comedy. It's just like everything's just natural.
Yes.
Like just like real.
Nothing's forced.
Right.
Yeah, like you believe what they're saying. Like you believe that this is how Jennifer Lawrence would react, which we haven't really said. Like she won her Oscar for this. She's fantastic in this movie as well.
And I think in the book, her character was, again, this is based off a book too. I think her character was 35. She was 22 when So this is
crazy.
like crazy, and then the fact that she won the Oscar for this, and she deserved it.
Definitely, most definitely, and I definitely love the chemistry between Bradley Cooper and also between Jennifer Lawrence as well. I mean, the script is beautifully well written, like we mentioned before, and everything. The other thing that I really have to laugh at is the Robert De Niro's character when he's like, "Well, what are you?" He's like, "What are you doing? Why is he back here?" He goes, "It's okay, Dad. I'm fine. I'm fine now. I'm good. I've been gone for 8 months. I'm perfectly fine. Everything's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my medicine." But he doesn't actually take his medicine at all. And I have to laugh at the psychiatrist though whenever he's trying to persuade his mother not to go on ahead and get him out of there. He's like, he's just now grown to the customs of the way that we do things. I'm like, no, he's not. He's spinning out his medication for crying out loud. He's getting used to it. No, he's not getting used to being institutionalized or anything like that. Under 8 months, he's refusing his medication, basically.
He's acting
right. He's very impulsive on his behavior and everything. If he didn't have that disorder, people would actually think that he was a drug addict because of the way that he was actually acting. But because of him having bipolar disorder, it cuts him some leeway because of the way he's actually acting. Because he thinks on emotion, he thinks on another level whenever you're bipolar and everything. But I also have to laugh whenever he's getting ready to go out for his jog, and of course Robert Downey and Robert De
Niro. That would be great.
Robert De Niro's character winds up telling him, "Don't go near Tiffany's house. Do not go near her house.
Don't go near that crazy girl."
Yeah,
Nikki.
Don't go near Nikki's house. I don't care what you do. Do not go near Nikki's house. Also, don't go near her school. And he goes, "What's up with the garbage bag?" He goes, "Oh, that's for sweat. That's for sweat." And so he's jogging and everything, and of course we already know he's gonna go straight over to her house and jog over there, and of course he's gonna go on ahead and go to the school. It's a no-brainer and everything. But when he goes to the school, he winds up running into another teacher that he knows and everything. And he goes, "Is Nikki here? Is Nikki here?" And she goes, "I can't give you that information or anything." He goes, "Well, I'm better now. Can I have my job back? I promise I can get my job. Can I get my job back? I'm good now." And then he also tells her this. He goes, and of course he goes back over to Nikki. But then she said, "No, but the teacher that she slept with is here." He goes, "Why would you tell me that?"
So good. I just want to say, so I remember we talked a little bit before we recorded about, you said you saw this movie last year for the first time. I saw this movie when it came out. I think it was like one of well, I don't, maybe not one of the first, but I remember probably like one of the first R-rated movies I saw with my mom. We went and saw it because I was like super into the Oscars, especially that year. And I didn't really know Bradley Cooper. I knew him, but I didn't really like watch a lot of his movies. I just knew he was the guy in The Hangover. And I was like, why is a guy from The Hangover nominated for an Oscar? There's no way this guy can't act. Like, this is ridiculous. And then I saw the movie and it completely changed my mind. His performance is incredible. I still think he should have won personally, but he was up against, that was the year for Lincoln that Daniel Day-Lewis won, so of course it was a really hard year that year. But I just remember being like blown away by his performance. And the first time I saw it, I was in high school, and I kind of knew a little bit about like mental disorders and mental illness, but not a lot. And then when I watched it a couple years ago, I kind of had my own kind of struggles, and I really relate to this movie because I have like anxiety disorder, panic disorder. I have been through therapy, so I can like relate with the character a lot. And it's a whole different viewing experience when you're watching this movie and you can relate with the characters. Me and my husband were cracking up watching this movie when we just watched it like 2 hours ago, at all the stuff that maybe you shouldn't be laughing at and just kind of being like, yeah, I can relate to this. And we both said, like, we wonder how people, like, when people watch this movie, if they don't have these kind of disorders or don't have anything going on in their brain, like, what they think of some of the stuff that happens. Because I remember first watching it, like, why is Jennifer, why is she acting this way? Like, why is she freaking out in the diner? Or why is he freaking out all the time? Or, like you said, like, he kind of comes off as drunk. But then, like, how do other people that have never experienced that or have never met someone that has these kind of disorders, like, how do they view this movie? Because I just feel like it's very kind of, like, inside baseball. Like, you just really love it more because you're like, oh, yeah, I can relate to everything that's happening. Like, that's just my thought.
I mean, I saw this movie, not when it first came out, because, like, this was, like, I didn't go to the theater that often. I think it was just, I just finished my fall semester, my freshman year at college. I did see another movie that was nominated for for Oscar fans, Django Unchained. I saw that in theaters.
Oh, yeah. Same year, great year.
Great year, yeah. I mean, Christoph Waltz won for Best Supporting Actor. I mean, well deserved. Right. Anyway, I watched this on DVD, and then, like, or on video or whatever it came out, and then, like, I didn't pick up on the mentalist, like, part of it, like the mental illness portion of it. I just liked it. Yeah, so I looked at for a whole other aspect to it that we'll get into, hence what the jersey I'm wearing. And it just hit, the movie just hit me. I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly what year this took place. And that's how much of a diehard Eagle fan I am. And, like, I'll get into this. So your discretion advised, Cowboy fans, prepare for some bashing. But still,
oh my gosh.
So anyway, but no, I love this movie. Like I said, I was just in the like, I just started watching Jennifer Lawrence flicks to see how that, because she just did the Hunger Games like not too long ago. Loved her in that.
And it came out the same year.
It did, yeah. So I was really intrigued in this, and I watched, and I liked Bradley Cooper because I saw him in the A-Team. Like, oh, okay, Bradley Cooper. I kind of like him, and in real life, he's a diehard Eagle fan. So
he's from Philly.
He is from Philly.
Philly.
Yeah. So, and apparently Jennifer Lawrence is an Eagle fan too. Yeah. So I'll get into that when we get into the Eagle aspect. But yeah, I like this movie, and then I just watched it. Because I watched it when it came out around maybe like 2013 when it came on DVD. Then I haven't seen the movie since, but I knew it vividly in my mind of this movie. And I think this is the second time I watched it. It was just now, but I definitely pick up on the mental illnesses and then what they're going through and stuff. I think it's just, the more you watch it, the more you can fully like grasp what's really going on. And Bradley Cooper was great in this movie. Along with Jennifer Lawrence.
My friend actually has bipolar disorder. So
my friend does too.
So I was actually looking at different things on the way he acted compared to Bradley Cooper, but he also takes medication for his. So it was hard to compare the two because you can't even tell that one of my friends actually has bipolar disorder. or anything like that, so it was hard for me to actually relate to it or whatever on that aspect. But you know, another thing though too, I forgot to mention at the very beginning, he makes his mother, Bradley Cooper makes his mother go to the library to get every book, all the books that his ex-wife Nikki is making the kids read on the syllabus list. And 3:00 a.m. in the morning, he throws the book.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Outside. Out the window, literally out the window, not even having the window cracked. It just throws it out the window and everything. Because this book is horse shit, basically. And he just goes into Robert De Niro's bedroom and just starts ranting about how Hemingway and about his writing style and things like that. And he's like, look, it's 3:00 in the morning. Can we just talk about this tomorrow? He goes, no, we cannot talk about this tomorrow.
He's like, I won't apologize.
You know what? I can't apologize. Not for this. Not for this,
So
Dad. I cannot apologize for this. He goes, well, how about this? You can just get Hemingway to go ahead and call me this. You can't apologize for me. But I thought that was actually funny because we do that our own selves where we actually do a lot of ranting when it comes down to our fictional books and things like that about certain characters and the way they're done. So it's kind of relatable on that aspect.
Oh, I've definitely had moments like that
Me too.
all the time where I'm like, this is not, especially with Harry Potter, this is not how it's supposed to be.
Well, this was
not accurate.
This was me in high school reading that Dobby died. I'm like, what happened?
What?
I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, excuse me? I'm like, I'm sorry. I need to be excused. There's a death in the family. No, Dobby died.
No, in my
Harry
book.
So, but it's very relatable.
Yeah.
But and then of course I want to also mention Chris Tucker's character's name. His character name is named Danny.
Danny.
That's his.
I always forget.
Yeah, Danny is his name, and also too. Another thing that I find that's interesting is the fact that you have two complex characters like Tiffany and like Pat, who basically don't have. You think that they have nothing in common, especially when his friend invites Pat over to his house, and then of course that's when he meets up with Tiffany, and I don't like his wife. I don't like his friend's wife at all.
Julia Stiles.
Julia Stiles does such a good job.
We
in
love
this
her.
show.
Oh yeah,
I love her. I love her as an actress, but she's such a witch in this movie. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but no. It's fine for you to say it. It's bad for us to say it. But she's just such a witch in this movie to the point where I'm like, I don't blame Pat for not liking her. She's very judgmental towards Pat and everything, and of course he's wearing a jersey to dinner, which makes it even funnier. And then she's over there showing off her house. Hey, do you have an iPod? Look what I have. Making Pat feel like he has nothing in his life.
She talks down to Tiffany. That's her. Yeah, Tiffany a lot too. And I was like telling my husband like that stuff, and the way that the mom and the dad kind of talk to Pat as well. It's like very like kind of condescending, especially the dinner scene when Tiffany's like, I want to go, like I'm ready to leave. Like when you're sometimes you're just ready to leave. I mean that's everyone, but like especially I think I read somewhere that it's never said what her disorder is, but people believe that she has borderline personality disorder. So you could tell like there's a point where she's like, I want to go, I'm ready to go, I'm over this, and the sister's like, I want to have fun. Like, I just want to have fun. Like, I did this for you, which, like, doesn't sound bad, but it's, like, super manipulative in the sense of, like, because there's multiple times in the movie where, like, especially with Pat, well, they'll bring up, like, don't be mad at me. Are you mad at me? Like, why are they upset? And it's that manipulation of, like, I don't want you to be mad. And she's kind of like, I'm not mad, but it's for you, so I am upset. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's just very, like, the character's annoying, but I think on a whole nother level, like she's just super manipulative that they don't really get into that much. But it's very, especially when she, at the end, when she invites Nikki to come and is like, oh, they're gonna get back together, like knowing that Tiffany like is in love with him,
Right.
and she still invites the wife. Like it's just super like terrible.
It is, and especially when Pat is also dealing with his own struggles and emotions with Nikki, to the point because you can tell that he's falling for Tiffany at that point too. So he's also dealing with his own struggles, with his own feelings, and wondering if he should give Nikki a chance or give Tiffany
and then they
chance.
bring her, especially the friend, the husband, who's like, Pat told me that he's been talking about their marriage is going to get back together, and it's like, yeah, but that was months ago and things have changed. Like, you're a really bad friend. Like, you're terrible.
But yeah, we'll get into that later, a little later. But
yeah, sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine because I like talking about that because that part really definitely grinds my gears, to be honest with you. But Charlie, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I hated Veronica. Like I said, Julia Stiles here. Hated her. She was very condescending. Guys, guess what this does? And Jennifer Lawrence was like, what?
The fireplace.
The fireplace. Really?
She's like, it's a morgue. It's where they put the dead bodies.
I mean, yeah, it's just Jennifer Lawrence. She's like, really? Like she kind of like calls out her own sister's bullshit.
Yeah, it's so.
It's real. Just so. It's like so sarcastic, and that just like you just real like sarcasm for me is just hilarious because there's a show I used to watch in the '90s called Daria, and she was very.
Oh yeah.
I related to her because she was so sarcastic, but she was likable. That's what that kind of maybe relates to Jennifer Lawrence. Like, really? Why the hell would you put a fireplace in the wall? Like, is it a TV? Because it kind of looks like. And then, who the heck needs iPods? Like I bet that house is very like out of date now.
Oh, I know people. That's what I said.
Right.
I know people that have that like in their house.
Yeah,
it's the like, iPod port.
So and it's just funny. Like it's like, oh, you wore a jersey to dinner, and she's like, yay, not to dinner, but yay, rookie of the year. It was again, I'll get into this when we get into Deshaun Jackson rookie jersey, and the jerseys, they were old at the time because they had the Reebok symbol. Because Reebok had jerseys then before Nike took over. Again, like I said about this minor stuff, I'll get into it once we get into the portion. But yeah, I just like everybody's all about Deshaun Jackson. Don't worry, I know about him. But yeah, and then she's holding the baby. He's like, "Yay, Deshaun Jackson! Let's say it with me." And then she's like very off-putting. Like she's very like, "Yay," but very condescending. It's like
she does a great job.
Yeah,
she kills it.
Yeah, she was very kind of off-putting because she's still like, even though Ronnie's saying, "Oh, she doesn't hate you," well, he kind of still does.
He's great too. I love him too. The other supporting cast in this is great as well. Him, the guy that plays the brother, the therapist. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. Great. It's like all great performances. But it's just like, and it's just funny because John Ortiz, the guy that played Ronnie, he's always being the bad guy. He's always typical as the bad guy. And him being he's like a really good friend. He's there watching the Eagle games with them. Yeah, it's very fitting that he's like there. And then the brother, like I think it was his name is Shea Whigham.
He also plays a bad guy.
He also plays like a bad guy or like an FBI agent or something.
Yes, always. He's Boardwalk Empire, right? Isn't he like the FBI and
No, he's actually Nucky's brother in Boardwalk Empire.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
He was also in a couple of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah. Like, that guy is in everything.
So anyway, but great all around performances all around like that. But just Jennifer Lawrence is bashing her sister. They're like, really about the fireplace. That's just kind of funny.
It is, and then Bradley Cooper actually takes her seriously. Pat takes her seriously. He goes, "Really? Where do you put the bodies at?"
Yeah, she's like, "It's a joke."
It's just a joke. You don't have to take it seriously. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think she was talking about the mortuary. She was making a dark joke about her own situation about her dead husband, and I just thought it was the sequence of like, don't bring up her dead husband. Anyway, how's your husband? Like, it's just like, I mean, it's just.
He's like, how's your husband die?
Like, oh, I'm sorry, but really, I'm not.
Exactly.
I love how he's always like, oh yeah, because your husband's dead. And the one scene, she's like, yeah, I know he's dead. Can you stop telling me that my husband's dead? Like, I get it.
Right.
Like,
and then also too, whenever he walks her home, he goes, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. Want to go? I'm ready to go. And then they're walking back, walking her back home and everything. And she goes, you know, I live outside in this other little guest house and everything. There won't be any chance of anybody walking in on us and everything. I'm new to this dating thing, but we can totally fuck. And he goes, and he's like, look.
He's like, I'm married.
I'm married. Because so am I.
So am I.
And then she goes, and he turns around and says, no, you're not. You're married to a dead person. There's something totally different. And then she goes in and hugs him down. This is where I think that she does have borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
Because she winds up crying.
Yeah.
And then she goes from crying to slapping him in the face, and then she winds up leaving.
Yeah. And
so,
all the stuff with like her like sleeping with everyone in the office too is like they have very like sex and then casinos and money and like you know what I mean, they're like kind of all over the place. So like it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, how she's like breaking down like crying and then she like hugs him.
I mean, just the chemistry between her and Cooper, you definitely can see it. Like it's very vivid. Like, it's like, and it's believable because these guys are believable. Hate to keep taking shots at Nicholas Sparks, but come on, Notebook here. Yeah, there's no chemistry. Again, I'm gonna keep anytime we do these type of movies.
They are in love with each other.
No,
they were dating. They were really together.
I know. I know. I just have to keep from because for me that was the big aspect. For me, it's got to be believable, and you got it. Like it. I didn't feel for them. I mean,
they have great.
Yeah, I mean, these two definitely yes. So anytime, like I said, because this came out after it, so like or years after it, like a lot of years after it. So it's like, all right, I did a review on it. And I'm thinking to my guns.
It's like I have to. Can I talk about one of my favorite scenes that makes me almost cry all the time? Well, there's a lot of them, but there's one point in the movie my husband looks at me and he's like, "Is it?" It's when Robert De Niro is sitting on the bed and he's talking to Pat about how like he should have been there for him, and he's like crying, and my husband's like, "I'm kind of getting emotional right now," and I was like, "Well, I've been getting emotional the whole movie. Like I'm like fighting back tears the whole time." And the two scenes that really kind of hit home for me is the one scene. Or the two times that he's with the therapist, especially the first time when he's playing the wedding song, trying to see how he's going to react. And he kind of like breaks down and starts talking about how he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, mood swings, and all this stuff. And then that scene always kind of hits me. And then the scene in the diner when he goes out and he talks about how like, yeah, sometimes I just hear the song in my head. And he's asking like, is this real? Is this not real? And he's having the panic attack in the middle of the street. That hits super close because I have panic attack. I used to have panic attacks all the time. So that stuff is seeing him act that out and seeing him when he's like he starts hitting himself in the one scene with the mom and he's like super manic and he like kind of goes into it and it starts doing all the flashbacks to what really happened with the wife and he's like beating up the guy. And then that scene when he's in the street and he's Tiffany's like, just breathe, it's in your head, you need to get over it, like you need to just breathe and stuff like that. I never realized how real that is until I experienced everything he went through, and I was like, man, like it's the realest thing I've ever seen. Like it's I just like I said before, like I really applaud them for like doing their research and not making it, you know, like sometimes when they try and portray like certain mental disorders, like people kind of feel offended. You can tell that they really did their research and really cared about these characters. And even like, it's kind of like Robert De Niro's character obviously has like OCD, but it wasn't so, they never like said like, oh yeah, I have OCD. You know what I mean? Like it just felt real. Like it's just like, yeah, this is your dad that does that kind of kooky stuff. But if you have a dad that does have OCD, like you can really relate. But if you don't feel like you're an outsider. It's just kind of like, oh, he's just holding on to the remote or doing this crazy thing.
Stuff. Right.
Yeah,
Just being superstitious
but like
rather
you
than
can.
OCD.
Yeah, that's what's great about it is that you can really relate and you can just enjoy it as well. So.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've had I think when I was on a doctor's appointment, I had a panic attack. Not to the degree that I just almost fainted. So I've had it because I think, like I said, so I can feel like what panic attacks are, and they're scary.
Terrible.
Yeah,
They're awful.
They are. So I had one, not to the degree what Bradley Cooper was having with the song and stuff, but I also just love the chemistry between him and his therapist, and how the two.
Great. He's great.
Yeah, the two of them relate, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Deshaun Jackson, he's awesome." Like that's the revolving bond was Deshaun Jackson. It's just like it's
always the Eagles.
It's always the Eagles, because that's I mean, literally, this movie is the Eagles.
Yeah.
There's a playbook. There's an actual play that's written on the cover of the DVD, and it's on the poster. An actual football play. So it's like all about football because that's just their calming point. But yeah, I was glad they showed those scenes. They got the facts, like information, all right. But yeah, there's so many good stuff in this movie. Like I just love the Chris Tucker portions when he keeps escaping from the institution, and then
they keep taking him back.
It's like third time the charm. The third time he got out, they screwed up my case. I'm good. He didn't get arrested. So that's good. He's freaking out.
That's great. Yeah, I think I've said before, but I grew up in South Jersey, like 40 minutes from Philly. So I also like relate to the Eagles stuff and seeing that like actually being shot in a suburb in Philadelphia. It's really cool. It's like one of those things that's like, hey, that's my backyard. That's my hometown. Like, and knowing these families and knowing these type of people that like, yeah, Eagle fans are, no offense, in the nicest way, they're crazy. Philadelphia Eagle people are insane. Like, we've all seen it. We know. They won the Super Bowl. They went insane. Like, it's just the way it is.
They deserve to go crazy since.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, sorry at your defense, John. I know you're a Patriot fan, but even Tom Brady in his own game.
Hey,
and when they bring up the Cowboys, like the whole Cowboys rivalry, it's like, yeah, it's so.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so
perfect. I mean, and then the Eagles, like they're. I keep trying to give them defending them, and then my mom's like, to stop. I'm like, they're passionate. What can I say?
They are very, very passionate.
They care about their team. They want, if they're great, they want to let them have it. If they're sucking, and trust me, sometimes
I'll let you
know. I'll let you know. Like sometimes, like some of the stories, they're getting the stories out of rap, and then just see like this other fans just bashing, oh, you Eagle fans, you for batteries, Santa Claus. It wasn't Santa Claus. It was a drunk idiot in a suit that deserved to get thrown batteries at.
Yeah, they were like climbing the light poles and
grease up those poles. But I mean, they beat Tom Brady.
They won this. Yeah, that was.
I mean, with a backup quarterback. I mean, it's like, and when everybody said that they couldn't do it, they did, and it's Tom Brady to this day quotes that as his worst loss in his career, and that just gives me so much satisfying because he's such a sore loser.
I do like the scene when they're tailgating, though. I think that scene is fantastic.
Yeah,
they're doing like the fly Eagles fly.
I'll get to that in a sec. But I think the build up is like, and then you're wondering, and then when Bradley Cooper's character is Pat's going for runs, Jennifer Lawrence is immediately there, kind of like she's like kind of stalking him in a creepy way. But
she's like, you ran past my house.
Like, yeah, I go by this town all around, and she's like, hey, like she's screaming at him, and she's very nice about it, or this that, and it says, and she's chasing him, and she's catching up, and then she keeps like, and she perks his curiosity when he says about Nikki, and then the thing after Nikki's like, I can give the letter to her, and to quote another great actor at that time, Leo DiCaprio from Django Unchained, you had my curiosity, now you have my attention. Now he got his attention with the like that. So in order, it's like it's kind of like a parlay. I need you to do this for me, like, so she's a dancer, so she wants to compete in this dance competition, so she needs a partner, so she needs Bradley Cooper to be her partner. If by doing that he will give she will give the letter to
the
Nick.
letter.
Yes.
So many twists and turns throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I also liked the scene with the therapist when he even calls him out on it. He goes, well, maybe this would be a chance for you to do something nice for her in order for you to do something nice, for her to do something nice for you.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect to it. And then also, too, the running scene was hilarious because because here's the thing. You see Pat, he's running, and then all of a sudden here comes Tiffany out of the all of a sudden he thinks that he lost her. And here she comes out of somebody else's neighborhood and everything. He goes, why are you running so fast? What's going on? He goes, I'm running to get away from you. And then all of a sudden he sees the diner. He goes, do you want to eat here tonight?
I also liked it. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
No. Go on ahead.
I was about to say, I also liked the part when he tried to get that other guy when he went up to their house to find Tiffany at her house. The other douchebag came up there. He's like, "Hey man, you got to give her some space. Leave her alone." and he's like, "Let me walk you to your car." Tiffany kind of she was the manipulator of this because she wanted him to do this. Hence the letter situation, and then I just thought that scene was pretty funny too. Bradley Cooper just
like, let me walk you to your car, buddy.
Right. He's like, hey man, you gotta give her some space. You gotta give her some time to breathe, man. He goes,
yeah, it's so good.
And he even gets this. He even gave the parents his business card and everything. He goes, look, man, look, this is not the right way to go about it. Come on, let me walk you to your car. And then he goes, but she just texted me. She wanted me. And here's Jennifer Lawrence. Here's Tiffany behind the door, just smiling because that's what she wanted in the first place. I think what she wanted was just someone to feel like that somebody gave a damn about her.
Yeah.
That's why she did
it. Yeah, absolutely.
Just to push Pat to his limits, just to see
that he was different.
Right.
Yeah. He was different than all the other guys. Yeah.
And of course, I actually have to respect him for not wanting to sleep with her, even though it was for a total different reason. But,
well, he's married.
Right. But, I definitely, Pat has his good morals and stuff like that, But also, too, remember when the therapist was telling him this, though, too, about the wedding tape, but the song being stuck in his head? And he said, you need to go on ahead and confront that and everything before it starts messing you up. That's why he was up at 3:00 a.m. once again
trying to find
because that's when he was having another episode.
That scene is incredible. I think that was the scene when I first watched the movie that I was like, give him his Oscar. Like, it's just to see his progression from calm to mad to truly manic, where he's just screaming and yelling and loses control and starts to spin into the panic attack, and hearing the song, it's incredible. It's so interesting to watch. And he hits the elbows the mom, and they get in a fight. And Robert De Niro is great in it as well. Also a really difficult year, because he was also nominated for supporting. It was just a really hard year, because I think he was great, but Christoph Waltz was great as well. So what do you do?
It's think of the Oscars as a World Series, right? One person has to outshine the other person. In order
so many good performances. There's some years where it's a little thin, but that year, so many good years.
Right.
I think it's very hit or miss with the Oscars for me. Sometimes they knock it out of the park. Very rarely, but sometimes they knock it out of the park. Other years, however, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They picking something that's not their voting system is flawed, and that can be a whole separate thing. But sometimes they pick something that's not the best picture; it's third best. Why is it called Best Picture then?
Nailed it.
I have some serious gripes of them snubbing A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper by picking Green Book.
Is that our next review? Because I will gladly I will argue Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper have amazing chemistry. I've done it before.
I'm the one that gave that John the idea. We got to do A Star.
They're in love with each other.
Yeah. I saw that in theaters. At first, I didn't want to see it. I'm like, you know what? I might as well watch it.
Great.
Bradley Cooper worked.
Anyway,
he Yeah. Anyway,
this is Bradley Cooper's turnaround. I really think this is the movie that like really made people sit up and be like, oh, he can. Because after that, he was getting nomination after nomination. Like he did American Hustle, American Sniper.
Oh yeah.
But it was like one after the other.
I don't know if he got nominated for Joy. He was in Joy with Jennifer.
I think she got nominated. I don't think he did.
Or what? He was in an Oscar-worthy movie, and it says
he was like turning him out.
Yeah.
So was she, but
I mean, she was on a streak, and then but anyway, like that whole sequence was intense. Like it's like that, and then he has a restraining officer now, and the officer's always up.
And the kid that shows up with the recorder.
Right.
Like, is he having a bipolar episode?
Like, how the hell do you know this? Like, are you up stalking them? Like, I really went to Niro to beat the crap out of this kid.
He's like, I will smash that over your head and ask you how it felt.
Yeah, I mean, that kid deserves to get shit on.
So good.
He's working on. He wasn't. That's not his business. Step off. Like, I wanted to Niro to beat the crap out of the kid.
Me too.
So then the restraining officers like the one that had to get Chris Tucker. And I think it was like it was the Seahawks game where that when Chris Tucker was there and then him getting arrested.
Holding the remote.
Holding the remote. He's like, hey man, like, I got to take you back. Are you sure, officer? Are you an Eagle fan today? Yes.
Yeah.
So like, and then like, I think this is right around when Bradley Cooper started hanging more out with Tiffany to do the dance lessons, and then he comes back and you see Jake, his brother, come in for the first time and him hugging him, like, because I think he was talking about how successful he is, and I was like, oh no, is Bradley Cooper about to punch you? And then Bradley Cooper is no, calm. And
which is like an uncomfortable, like that's just him, like not sure, like no one really knows how to act around Pat because they're like. Even the friends at the football game are like assholes, but they're like, he just got the loony bin. Like, you don't say that.
No,
they don't say that. But like, you can tell everyone's kind of like walking on eggshells, especially the brother. Like, it's just a nervous thing. Like, he's like, you lost your house, I got a house. You lost your wife, I'm engaged.
Right.
You lost your job, I got a very successful.
He's like, my job. He's like, stop saying what you have, and he doesn't. Like, stop doing that.
And I just find it funny how anytime you see Randy, I just want to say, Randy, he's a dick. He's a classic cowboy fan, arrogant. The irony is, how can he be a cowboy fan when you wear a Giant jersey?
Yeah, that's something I didn't understand. That's something I didn't understand either, to be honest.
He's just anti-Eagles. Like, and he's like sitting there watching the Eagle game with them.
He's wearing the Giants one at the Giants game, like when it was the Giants versus the Eagles. So that's why I was like, maybe he's just anything that's not the Eagles.
I don't know. I think he's rooting for anybody but the Eagles. Like, so anybody who's facing the Eagles, he's rooting for. So I'm pretty sure he's got a jersey for the football team, Washington Redskins.
He just shows up every.
In the movie, Redskins were still the proper name. Now it's the football team. So
Washington football team. That's what it's called.
Yeah. That's what they changed their names to because but in the movie,
Philadelphia football team. When did they all wear that? They just got rid of the names and it was just New York football team.
Well, and then that's the hard part. It's like you got New York Jets and New York Giants. That's Anyway, I just thought that was like Randy was a dick. I wanted to punch. I don't care if Randy's an old man or what. I wanted to punch him in the face. Because you're a Cowboy fan, and frankly, for you. You would be the one I'd punch in the face. I'd rip off your jersey, have a fire sale with you, and just sit there and laugh.
I hope we have no Cowboy fans that are watching.
I know quite a few, and they're fine. They're
get out of here.
We rip on each other.
I'm friends with one. One of them, I always bust his balls all the time.
This is for Eagles fans.
But no, I mean, I'm friends. I'm not as like Randy is the Cowboy fan that I would beat up. I don't care if you're a man or what. I would beat you up and I'd do stuff to your jersey and make you cry. And it was nice seeing him cry at the end, but I'll get into that. And then so he's been practicing with Tiffany doing the dancing, and then Chris Tucker shows up for the third time. Hey guys, I'm finally free. They threw out my cape. So he's teaching them how to.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the dance thing.
Yeah.
Black it up. Black it up.
He's like, what does that mean?
What do you mean? Here, let me show you what I mean. And then next thing you know, Bradley Cooper starts getting jealous.
No. And then
love the dance stuff.
And then also the other running theme too is Rainey. The De Niro character. He's been since he's trying to get a restaurant. He's been making illegal bets, and Randy's been the one that's been betting him. So during one of the bets, Randy Randy bet Randy and him. They pretty much he bets almost everything on the Eagles being the Giant, and he needs Jake and Pat to go to the game. But Pat's like, wait a minute, I got this thing with Tiffany, and I need to ask her. She's like, no, like I don't like sports because she throws out the paper. And then she also threw out the Lord of the Flies. I thought that was hilarious. She summarized Lord of the Flies. He's like, wow, that's a great summary, but I need to read the book. You need to read it.
She's like, there's a fat one, and she's like, it's just really mean.
Yeah. And then so she's like, no, you can't go. You made a commitment to me. But De Niro is kind of like, no, you need to go. And then now they go to the tailgate.
Right. But I want to touch on that a little bit, though, too, with De Niro and everything. Yeah. At that time, I was like, I really didn't like De Niro's character because of the fact that he was putting pressure on his son, making a guilt trip on someone that has a bipolar personality. For another thing, and then go into a football game because you can't go because you got kicked out for your own anger issues and everything. It's a wonder how he has bipolar disorder because of De Niro and everything too.
Yeah,
but De Niro also has his character also has anger issues and OCD, which obviously which to me seems like it's undiagnosed. So through his whole life, he just doesn't. And even Pat says at one point, earlier, he's like, I'm kind of bare knuckling, I didn't realize I've had bipolar my whole life. I think it's kind of the same. You kind of see the dynamic of he doesn't understand why he's doing this stuff is because he's OCD and just kind of, like you said, pressuring, guilt tripping. But that's because he has his own stuff he hasn't taken care of. It's just kind of
and
affects everyone else.
Exactly, but I just didn't like how he went on ahead and pressured him into going and everything. I didn't like that, but I like also how Jennifer Lawrence later on, Tiffany goes on ahead, puts him right. But Charlie, I'm gonna go on ahead and let you take over the tailgating part because I mean this movie is like a love story to Philadelphia Eagle fans. So I want you to go on ahead, cover this full segment with the tailgating.
Okay. So before I get into tailgate, I want to let everybody know what. Okay, so if you follow the NFL, the season that this movie revolved around, well, in the book technically it was supposed to be the 2006 Eagles, but in reality, in the movie version, it was really the 2008 season. So we keep talking about Deshaun Jackson. Okay, Deshaun Jackson was drafted by the Eagles in the second round, so this was his rookie year. In the beginning of the movie, when you go back to De Niro talking to Rainey, he's like, what a bonehead. Deshaun Jackson, bonehead, drops the ball at the 1 yard line. That actually happened. That was the sequence. Deshaun Jackson broke off, had a goal line touchdown, and he spiked the ball at the 1 yard line.
Yes. I remember this.
That's what actually happened. I watched. It was a Monday Night Football game. I think it was week 2 or 3 of the 2018. It was on Monday Night Football. Deshaun does it. And I was like, wait, is he in or what? What was going on? And then they did the replay. Let's just say he's done that before in college. So that's why everybody's like, and he's a rookie. So, and that's the jersey that Pat's wearing, Bradley Cooper's character is wearing, isn't a Deshaun Jackson jersey. Those are Reebok jerseys. So, again, that's before Nike took over. But Deshaun Jackson, like I said, he went off in his rookie season, but that boneheaded move. And Dallas and Philly, they hate each other. They truly hate. It's a rivalry. Hence, the Randy character is a patriot. And then the De Niro talking about America's team. What's great? It's like, how are you America's team? And I agree. That was a dumbass name that they gave that team. They don't deserve that name because we hate you. But America's team, my ass. Anyway, and so he's like, what? It's like, you know what America is? Benjamin Franklin, and the banner between the two of them about Dallas versus Philly. You can actually get excluded from an Eagle Stadium. That is true. You can get banned because De Niro got in fights with everybody. And I believe in not the Lincoln Financial Field, but Veterans Stadium, there was an actual jail cell in that stadium. So this is some little answers before they got into that. So anyway, and then another one when De Niro is like, wait a minute, you left and Antoine Randall did a trick play to get into the to score a touchdown. That was actually week 5 against Washington. It was Washington trick play. That was week 5. I don't remember that one per se. I was looking it up just to get some background in the Eagles before that. But I remember it was 2008 season, and then De Niro's hatred for Andy Reid. Andy Reid was still with the team for a little while. He got he and unfortunately he got fired at the end of the 2012 season because I think his time was up. And De Niro, so he was a lot of foreshadowing what's good to come. Okay, into the tailgate, when you see a lot of fans, they come in. You'll notice I think some people are wearing Vic jerseys and Nandi Oswald jerseys. That's a little blooper because those guys were not on the Eagles until 2011. So probably they filmed around that time because they didn't wasn't until the 2011 season. So into the tailgate, Eagles tailgates, they're lively. I haven't gone to one, but I've seen them when I went to the stadium a couple times. The Eagle fans, they're passionate. And I mentioned it before. If you suck, we'll let you know. We'll be booing. We'll boo you out of your own stadium. I mean, that's why
they won't be afraid to let you know.
Yeah, we were that, and then so the betting portion. The other thing that was interesting too is the NFL actually the NFL didn't like that. So apparently during Thanksgiving they were supposed to do an interview with Chris Tucker and Bradley Cooper for this movie, but because there was illegal betting, the NFL didn't allow that interview to happen. Yeah, it was something I didn't even know. The Eagle fans are passionate. So that whole tailgating thing, like I said, that just hits home. I'm a diehard Eagle fan, so the whole Eagles aspect of this is why I instantly like this movie, because this is sure before then we didn't really have an Eagle movie until Invincible. That was what the Mark Wahlberg did.
Yeah.
That was an Eagle-esque movie in a sense. And Mark Wahlberg, and that's when Mark Wahlberg was an Eagle fan for a little bit until but deep down he was always a Patriot fan. So yeah, boo. Anyway, hey, Mark Wahlberg, 41-33. Enough said. Anybody who doesn't know that score? That's the winning. That's the final score in the Super Bowl where the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Hence, that's the number on my jersey. Why I got 41 on my custom one, because that's the amount of points we scored to win it. Anyway,
I remember
my fandom for it, and but yeah, that tailgate scene was great. So the fighting is that. I mean, the one game I went to, there was people get drunk, they got in fights. 2 guys fell down the stadium, fell down the seats and kicked my brother and myself back in the head.
Oh my gosh!
The attendees there, that was the workers there. She quietly admitted she was a Cowboy fan. I was like, oh boy, you need to keep that quiet.
Don't say that.
Some other tips: don't go wearing other opposing jerseys while you're in that. So don't go wearing a Washington jersey in there. My brother wore one. He's fine.
No.
He just got verbally abused. And then the one guy got up and he said, I'm not gonna. I guess we're only gonna verbally abuse this kid. But if any of you guys lays a hand on him, I will beep and lay you out. That's just some of. But yeah, that whole this anyway. Pat and them, they're celebrating. And then Pat finds out his therapist is at the game.
I love that. When he turns his face and is half painted.
He goes, "Don't think of me as your therapist. Think of me as your friend,
as your brother,
as your Eagle brother." And then so technically that bus too. I don't think that bus doesn't typically show up at Eagle games. I think they just did it for the sake of the movie. So the whole that group that's just another just added to the story or whatever. Yeah. And then so they're celebrating, having a good time. And you have these racist douchebags come up and this
typical Philly
terrible people. I'm like, and it's like, hey, you all are reunited for one cause to be a Philadelphia Eagle fan. You don't have to go like hurt each other. And then Bradley Cooper didn't even lay a punch, and yet the cops arrest him, not the racist pricks.
I think they did. I think he did beat someone up.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, but he was because
he's like, that's my brother.
Yeah, that's legit. Like, if your brother was getting beat up, he was tempted to not do it, but he had to. That's my brother. I have to do it. And then so they get arrested. Eagles lose that game 20-19. And they get back to the house, and De Niro's like, how could you? I lost money on that. And then it goes to because Bradley Cooper was trying to call Tiffany, and De Niro's like, no, don't do that. And Tiffany shows up at the house.
Great scene.
This was like this.
The writing's incredible.
I don't think this was the scene, but I was trying to remember. John, remember when we did our best of 2012 when Sean was trying to he's doing this crazy conspiracy theories of how exactly this is the amount Jennifer Lawrence won the Oscar? I don't think it was this. It was from some other scene. But anyway, she comes in.
This is perfect.
This is perfect. Great monologue. She goes in and schools everybody on pretty much what I say. Anytime Pat was with me, the Eagles won. They beat the
Phillies.
Or the Phillies. She was on spot, and De Niro's like I didn't like you before, but
yeah,
nice.
I like you now.
And you know what else is funny though? You're actually having someone that doesn't really follow sports telling somebody else who follows sports.
She's like, I did my research.
Right.
Yeah. And she's or right before she says she pops open a beer. That's in my research. She starts chugging it.
Like drop microphone.
I remember the one Philly. I forget which one it was, but when she mentioned one of the Philly games, I was like, I remember watching that. I remember that was when I was a big Phillies fan.
Yeah.
Back in 2008. So. And
then not just the Eagles, but them winning the World Series. Oh, holy crap! That's right, they did win the World Series. So,
2008.
That's when the Phillies were relevant. Not so much now. But no,
we don't talk about it.
But no, this is her schooling everybody on it, and then her ripping into Pat and Randy. Her going after Randy, antagonizing him. So Randy's
she's like, yeah, do it, Randy. She's in the background.
I feel bad. So he offers a parlay. This is another part. I'll get into it later on when we get to the whole final dance sequence. And I'll go into more history then. He goes, all right, I'll go you double or nothing, double your double it to chance to get your money back, and more. He's like, what? He's like, what Eagle? It's yeah, I bet my Eagles are gonna win the next game. He's like, what, the Bengals? And then he goes, no, Dallas.
And I love it when Jennifer Lawrence. I love it when Tiffany goes like this. Whenever Randy's actually starting to just back off, he goes, "No, I don't want to do that." He goes, "What's wrong, Randy? They're America's team. Why wouldn't you go after them, Randy? What's going on, Randy? Don't you
the dad's you said that's America's team, and she's like, yeah, it's America's team, Randy." She's backing him up.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
It was
pretty much making him cry deep down. What, you don't trust? I mean, the fact that he was resistant doesn't mean he trusts his own team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
not only that, but Randy was a total douchebag because he made Robert De Niro bid his whole entire savings on the restaurant, and he took it all away from him.
I know,
and everything. That was a douchebag move for him to be a friend of Pat's father.
Yeah. Also, Pat.
Yeah, Pat Senior.
Two Pats. Yeah. Pat Senior. There we go.
Yeah. Yep. And then he goes what else do they have to do? And then somebody mentioned wait a minute, and then he mentions the parlay. They have to get a 5 out of 10 from the judges on their dance thing, and Pat is like, whoa, no. I we're not great. Yeah, we don't suck, but I mean, we're okay, I guess.
No, he's like, we suck, and she's like, we don't suck.
We're okay. I mean, everybody else is better dancers, and she's
like, we can get a 5.
5. And then Pat Jr. I'm just going to do that. Pat Senior is De Niro. Pat Jr. Anyway.
Yeah.
Pat Jr. is like, I can't do this. And he goes out and he's like, and then Jennifer Lawrence comes in and another spoiler alert, or not spoiler, Jacki twist. the parents were in on this. Like they deep down, they loved Tiffany and they wanted Tiffany to be with Pat. So deep down, the little reveal about that, like how they keep that telling him to do the dance thing, and she's like, "Yeah, just say, just convince him Nikki will be there." And then the mom's like very hesitant on him, like it's a white lie, it's for his own good. And then, well, that's going on.
It's bigger than a white lie. It's a huge lie. Yeah. But it works out.
Yeah, and it works out. And then the common theme is like, oh, follow the signs or read the signs. And then that's when Pat realizes from the letter that it was really Tiffany that wrote it, not Nikki.
Yeah.
And then we cut forward to a couple weeks. It's Christmas, around Christmas time. Randy's being the smug son of a bitch that he is, smirking like celebrating. He's wearing a Dallas jersey front center.
Now he backs the team.
Now he backs the team. And then everybody else is like all nervous and scared, and Randy's sitting there celebrating like, I got this in the bag. Yeah, that's like, screw you, buddy. And then Jennifer Lawrence is freaking out, and that Pat's like, no, we got this. We're gonna be okay. And then they go to the hotels. For that type of dance competition, that's a nice ass hotel.
Yeah, that reminded me of that Antonio Banderas movie where they actually have to do the ballroom dancing.
Is that Save the Last Dance, or is that something else?
No,
that's something else.
Take the Lead was the name of that one.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a nice hotel and everything, and then of course, Jennifer Lawrence is also over there getting drunk with 2 vodkas because she saw Tiffany, and of course,
Nikki saw Nikki.
Tiffany saw Nikki, and then that's when she starts drinking the vodka. But she also questions her own sister. She questions Julia Stiles. What the hell is Nikki doing here? She's not supposed to be here or anything like that. Oh, I invited her because they're going to be together.
Yeah. That's when they're like, again, like they're talking down to her, and she's like, Pat didn't say that. And then the friend the whole time is like, no, he's been telling me the whole time that like it's all about Nikki. Like it's not really about you. It's about Nikki.
Right.
Like that's your sister. Like that's your sister and your sister-in-law. Like read the sign. Like come on. Like obviously she's in love with him. Like why would you do that?
Yeah.
Terrible.
So and then while that's going on, you have the dad, Randy. Chris Tucker's character, I forgot his name. Is it Donnie?
Danny.
Yeah, Danny. We're all watching it, and they come in there and they're disappointed, and then Randy's being smug, like, oh, Dallas is tied up 3-3. And I'm like, and deep down, I'm like, I'll get into this.
You're like, I know.
I know the gag. I remember this game, and I remember the whole history for this, but I'll get into that in a sec. So they're watching the game, and then Bradley Cooper has to find Tiffany. He's like, we got to do this dance. Everybody's dancing. You see the judges. The judges were pieces of shit. I gotta admit that.
But even the dancers were pieces of shit.
They were like,
too.
Yeah.
Because,
Pat Senior is like, what is this, Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah.
Right.
But the judges were smug pieces of shit. I'm like, why are they dancing the dance? They're like, it's like, what? You have money on this too? But seriously, like, so anyway, they do the dance, and I think, and then
which is great.
Yeah, right. The dance part made me laugh. To be honest with you, especially whenever you have Tiffany who runs up there, does the dance, and he has to lift her up.
Oh my god!
When she runs, and then where his mouth is totally not a place that you want your mouth during a competition.
It's one of those moments that's like, is this dance going to be really good? And then you're kind of like, oh, this is interesting, because you're like, oh, they're going to be like ballroom like the rest of these people, and then you're like, oh, this is not okay. I think it's fun, but it's fun
because they kind of mixed the White Stripes in with ballroom dancing.
I know.
And did it on that aspect, which to me it worked.
I did. I think it was that final big move. I think Pat was trying to push her up. He was trying to do Dirty Dancing. I think they were trying to do that scene from Dirty Dancing where Patrick Swayze picks up.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what move. If that's what they were trying to do, or if they were trying to have her like.
I think he was trying to have her up higher, but it didn't work that way. I think that turned off the judges. Judges like, oh, I hate you. Like they're like very mean. Like,
what is this?
What is this? This is not.
This is not ballroom.
I'm gonna give you a bad rating anyway.
Except for the judge at the end who gave everyone else bad scores, actually gave them like the higher one, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
And then the people next to him like, oh, that's too bad. Like, really, like, oh, that's such a shame.
Okay. So anyway, they ended up getting a 5. Okay. I'm going to go, yep, that's great. So I'm going to go into the other aspect. So that was part of the parlay. They had to get a 5. So that was one Randy was pissed off on. But the bigger one, I'm like, well, yeah, I think they showed one aspect first. So anyway.
The football game first,
game. Okay. So some history in this. This was week 17 of December 28th, 2008. The Eagles, like I said, this was the improbable odds. So they focused on Dallas, and that's good. But what they should have focused on is what they had to get up to face Dallas. So in order for the Eagles to make the playoffs that year, they needed Oakland to win over Tampa Bay, you needed Minnesota to lose to the Giants, or Chicago losing to Houston. So Minnesota defeat the Giants 20-19 because Giants already clinched at the time. They didn't really care. Houston defeated Chicago 31-24. And Oakland defeated Tampa Bay 31-24, and then Tampa Bay was up by 17 points. So I knew this because in order for the Eagles to get in the playoffs, or even that game against Dallas, which was at 4 o'clock or 4:25, whatever, they needed all those three things to happen just to have a chance to get in. All that happened, and the Eagles found out right before kickoff that the game against Dallas was meaningful. The final score of that game, the Eagles absolutely killed the Dallas Cowboys 44-6. It was an absolute wrecking. They destroyed them. Tony Romo got his ass kicked. And that's why they came in and celebrated at the end after they got the 5. Randy was like all pissed off because his team got humiliated by the Eagles 44-6. And the Eagles did really well that year. They got to the NFC Championship game and almost beat the Cardinals, and they almost got back to the Super Bowl.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, they almost won that game. They had the lead and they lost in the final seconds against the Arizona Cardinals against Larry Fitzgerald.
Here we go.
So that's what this is. I mean, so after that, Randy was pissed because not only did he lose he lost that, but and then after towards the end of the movie, Randy's like, "Hey man, I want to bet you again. Like, they're not going to beat Minnesota." The Eagles ended up beating Minnesota by 8 points. I'm pretty sure in the wild card. And then the Eagles they beat Minnesota, then they beat the Giants. So the Giants got beat out in the playoffs by the Eagles, and it was the Cardinals and the Eagles.
I think I do remember that year.
Yeah. So that was that, and then so after the dance, and everybody's like, "Why are they celebrating a 5?"
Yeah,
that's because I don't know. Maybe that's not because it's not all about you. So shut up. It's not like if this is a dancing thing, we would have another portion. So it was part of the bet, and that's you don't understand. That's okay. You don't need to.
I started crying. I was like,
and they won. So they won they didn't win the competition. That's fine. They weren't planning on winning anyway. They were just there to get the 5. And then Pat goes over to Nikki and he starts chatting with her, and then Tiffany gets upset. She walks out.
Typical romance movie. Miscommunication. The woman gets upset.
Yeah. Before I go further, John, is there anything you need to add?
Well, the part that made me laugh was the douchebag dancers. It's like, and also the judges. He goes, "Why the hell are they so happy?"
Yeah, he's like, "Why are they happy about a 5?"
5. Exactly, and that's what made me laugh. And then I love this. Another thing though too that I really liked was when Tiffany walks out, and then there's a talk between De Niro, Pat Sr. and Pat Jr. And also too, I like how finally Pat Jr. has some closure with his ex-wife and everything, and he realizes he doesn't need her in his life anymore like he thought. So he whispers in her ear and everything, comes back, Tiffany's gone, he talks to De Niro, and De Niro goes, "Look, I'm going to tell you right now," he said, "you're about to be making a very important decision right here, right now, that's going to affect your whole entire future if you don't act on it right now." He goes, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Tiffany's not here. You need to go after Tiffany." And I'm not going for verbatim or anything like that.
And he's like, "And she loves you. That girl loves you," or something. Ugh.
Right. No other girl will love you the way she goes. Don't get me wrong. Nikki might have loved you, but she doesn't love you the way that Tiffany loves you.
Yeah.
You need to go on ahead, go after her, because you have a good thing with her.
Yeah.
So he goes on.
They understand each other. They have like a mutual understanding.
Right.
Of their crazy.
Exactly. And that's what I loved. And then that's when we see Pat Jr. running after her. And then finally, she goes, "You mean to tell me you knew that I wrote that letter?" And everything goes, "Yeah, I just wanted to be romantic."
She's like, "You wrote this letter a week ago?"
Yeah.
That letter makes me cry. That scene makes me cry also every time. Like, every time.
And the funny thing is like, the other thing I didn't realize is that, I don't know if this is true or not, but Jennifer Lawrence is actually, like, she's an obnoxious Eagle fan. But when they won, like I said, I already mentioned Bradley Cooper in real life is a diehard Eagle fan. He was there in the booth when they won the
I remember
Super Bowl.
when they showed that, yeah. He was like...
Jennifer Lawrence was on a flight from New Orleans to L.A., and that was around 2018 or something like that. She commandeered the PA system in the on the plane and chanted the Eagles fight song. And they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. And that
so funny.
game. So I just thought that was like, holy crap, I did not know that.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, it just the Eagles fandom. If you're not an Eagle fan, you're probably not gonna like this movie. You might like the other aspects for it, but
like it from other aspects. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm a Pats fan, and I like this movie for what it is.
Yeah, I know.
It's really like too. It's also just like the football fandom and care in general. Like, yeah.
But this is like a love letter to the Philadelphia Eagles, to Philadelphia, to those fans. So that's what I loved about it and everything. I respectfully respect Philadelphia, even though we lost during that Super Bowl and everything. Here's the thing.
It was a good game. It was a really good game.
It was. I'm like, not only that, but that was also the year
came back.
Blount just went through us like a wrecking ball, like Blount does. If it wasn't for Blount being on that team, different atmosphere, but maybe the same outcome. But you know, I'm like, you have a member of the Patriots that knows their defensive line, offensive line.
I think
you guys had two from us.
We had Chris Long. Yeah, Chris Long and go ahead.
So,
sorry.
Really?
Yeah. So you guys had two members from our team. So of course you guys would know our offensive line and defensive line really well. So that's what had against us though too. But I respectfully respect the fact that you guys beat us like that. And everything too. It was a fair game. There was none of that thing back and forth between teams where people got angry or anything like that.
Yeah. It was a good season.
It was
too.
You know,
compared to other Super Bowls, that was probably the best Super Bowl we've had in a while because the year after that, the LA Rams and Patriot game, that was a bore fest. That was boring. The Chiefs winning. Yeah, they were down 10. It wasn't really like the Chiefs came back, and then because the Kyle Shanahan blew another game, and then last year's was the one that we just had this year was a travesty. It was boring. Like I didn't watch it at all.
I didn't watch it.
Compared to that, the Eagles one, that one was very competitive. Had them like very offensive one, but it also had memorable moments because this is a backup. Like the Eagles. Like we're underdogs the whole season into the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're underdogs because we lost our star quarterback because he tore his ACL.
Yeah,
we still got the number 1 seed with Nick Foles, and Nick Foles went in there. We barely got past the Falcons, and then we went to Minnesota and we absolutely killed them because Minnesota just beat the Saints in a lucky. Oh, I'm gonna duck against the Saints.
Yeah, I remember
Minnesota
that.
came in there and they're talking so much shit. Yep. And they ruined our Rocky statue with their horrible purple-ish thing. And
I just remember living during that time was insane because everywhere you would go, people always just shout like "Eagle" like all the time. I worked at like Chick-fil-A at that point, and there was people all the time. Like that, this one guy was just leading the chants like all the time. Would just go around the dining room and get people to like start chanting. I'm like, what is happening? Like,
I know. It's just great. It was like because I went the week before the Super Bowl. There was a wrestling pay-per-view in Philly. the Eagles fans chanting her, "We want Brady." The whole stadium was chanting, "We want Brady," and we were pumped. We were amped for this, and then to have Nick Foles win it was
everywhere.
I mean, Nick Foles.
Wawa's, superstores, malls, anywhere you go, you see someone with a jersey, people are just shouting. Like, it was
great time. But this Nick Foles put the team on his back and came up with one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history, the Philly special. I mean, that was. I got the plaque in my room. That was my dad. That was my last gift I got from him because he ordered it before he passed. He got me the plaque of the play, the actual play, the X's and O's of the Philly special.
That's so sweet.
I know, and that was like the greatest play. Like, just seeing that live, like I was in one spot the whole game. I did not move, and even a former great Eagle was in the stands that day. Freddie Mitchell, he was the guy with the two cameras during Justin Timberlake's performance. Freddie Hands Mitchell. Yeah, he was in the stands that day, but that was this was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about this movie. Great all around.
You're muted.
Oh, I was like, is it me? Okay.
No, it's not you, it's me.
I was like,
classic romance. It's not you, it's me.
It's not you.
Right, exactly.
It is you.
Story of my life. But no, like I was saying when I was muted and everything, this movie is perfectly well done, perfectly well crafted, and has a great cast and everything. If you guys haven't seen this movie, I strongly recommend anyone that's watching this review is going to watch this review or listen to this review. Check this movie out for yourself. We skipped a lot of stuff, so there's a lot of stuff for you guys to go ahead and digest and get into your own selves. Make your own video. Make your own deal. Tell us in the comments what you think about it. Give us a like. Give us a share. Give us some support as to what you liked about this film. Like I said, this is part of our mental health movies. So altogether, this is our 5th movie that we reviewed in our series. So I'm finishing up with... let's see here. I'm actually going to be doing one more film, and it's actually a classic film with Tom Cruise. And that is actually going to be
Rain Man.
Is it Rain Man? Okay, That's why I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, we're finishing it up with that. And now, matter of fact, I'm actually going to have my friend on the 31st come in, and we're going to review. He loves this movie. I'm not really a fan of it, but he actually dived into this a lot with Dark Phoenix, with mental health, because it actually helped him through some stuff. So I'm going to go on ahead and let him talk about how that actually helped him through his own mental health.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. So I'm always interested in impactful stuff when it comes to certain movies. So my question is this for you, Sarah. Where can everybody reach you at?
You can reach me on Twitter at SCBock. That's SSEABOCK. And I am doing the Go Get That Rose show with Jay Wade over on the JCast network. We just moved the show there, and that's going to be coming out June 7th. I don't know, sometime in June. And I'm also going to be hosting the Loki recap show when Loki comes out on the Merc with a Movie blog feed on YouTube as well. And me and Jay might make a appearance on this channel doing a movie review soon. So make sure you check that out, because it's going to be insane. It's going to be insane.
Sarah and Jay will be back on this show on the 27th, a matter of fact, at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. And then also, too, I'm also going to be doing a Deadpool 2 movie review tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific Time. So it's going to be me, Charlie, and our friend Tamara. She's going to be on here. We have some other shows. It's a funny.
I really like the second one. I know a lot of people don't. That's my little review. I like it a lot. I think it's great.
Brad Pitt, best part of that movie.
But yeah, to be honest with you, we have some other stuff probably planned out throughout that whole entire week, though, too. So go ahead, stay tuned for that. But yeah, we have some other stuff lined up later on during that week. I'm going to get into some announcements later on, probably tomorrow, about what we're doing. But I can't wait to dive into it. We're also going to be doing our Loki after show. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, always until next time, guys, as well. I have a blast doing these and stuff like that. But you guys can go ahead and reach me at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, underneath the same name, on Pinterest, and also on Instagram. You guys go on ahead, follow us on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit. Send me out an email if you're a sponsor or interested in sponsoring us at movieloversunite@gmail.com. For all your entertainment needs and wants, just go to www.movieloversunite.com. Then, of course, go on ahead and get an audio-only podcast of this episode and many more of our episodes where you guys get your podcast from. And then, of course, go on ahead and hit us up on stereo as well at Movie Lovers Unit. And always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. Can't wait to do this again. And bye-bye.